She built a career on viral traffic stops, until the badge she weaponized turned into a federal indictment. In a town where likes meant more than the law, one undercover FBI agent flipped the script on a TikTok-famous cop whose stops were anything but routine. What began as clicks ended in cuffs, and exposed a system hiding behind edits. Elijah Torrance arrived in Sycamore, Georgia, expecting just another quiet assignment on a long list of small-town posts. Officially, he was a low-profile security guard renting a one-bedroom outside city limits. In truth, he was an undercover FBI agent collecting proof of racially biased policing across the rural South. By day, he bought groceries at the Piggly Wiggly, chatted at the barbershop, and memorized which storefronts locked up early. By night, he synced patrol scanner audio with dashcam downloads, noting the same disturbing pattern that had trailed him from Alabama to Mississippi. Young black drivers stopped, searched, then released with no paperwork. One name surfaced on every spreadsheet he built: Captain Darla Whitmore, the Sycamore officer who had turned traffic enforcement into social media theater. At 42, Whitmore was the department's self-branded star, her GoPro-polished clips routinely topping 1 million views. Quick edits, thumping music, a practiced cap grin, and captions like, "This is why I wear the badge." The town adored her, the algorithm rewarded her, and any complaint against her evaporated before it reached internal affairs. Elijah's directive was to watch, not interfere, until she finally pointed her flashlight at him. Late one October night, Whitmore ended an Instagram livestream, parked beside the quick fuel station on Highway 60, and approached Elijah's beat-up gray Impala. Her justification shifted by the second. First a missing turn signal, then the smell of marijuana, finally a phantom bulge in his jacket. Elijah, calm and courteous, offered license and registration and asked twice for the legal basis of the stop. She supplied none. When she ordered a vehicle search, he stepped aside, every moment captured by the high-definition pin cam hidden in his collar and simultaneously uploaded to an encrypted bureau server. The trunk held only laundry, a flashlight, and a clipboard. Irritated by the lack of drama, Whitmore let him go with no ticket, then posted a 22-second TikTok that implied she had just disarmed a threat. Her editor missed 3 incriminating seconds of audio. Elijah's voice asking, "You're searching the vehicle without a warrant?" And that sliver was enough for DOJ analysts to confirm Elijah's months of quietly logged misconduct. The Bureau upgraded the Sycamore file to priority, green-lighting rapid intervention. Whitmore, still scrolling the praise beneath her clip, had no idea a federal net was tightening. The next day, trouble snowballed. A 16-year-old named Malik Riggins was held at gunpoint by Officer Jimmy Langston, one of Whitmore's protégés, outside a convenience store. Malik's mother, Tiana, a former Atlanta TV producer, filmed the stop and posted it with the caption, "My son isn't a suspect, he's walking home." The video exploded across Georgia media, and commenters immediately linked the incident to Whitmore's growing highlight reel of humiliated black men. Inside headquarters, her own officers began whispering, IA requests stacked in her inbox, and the mayor demanded a statement. Whitmore still believed she could out-content the criticism. One more perfect video and the feed would swing back in her favor. Convinced Elijah was the key, she summoned Langston to the abandoned industrial park on Sycamore's east side and told him to keep his body cam off. She'd heard the same man from the gas station stop was scoping warehouses. Langston, nervous, complied. What Whitmore didn't know was that the FBI had been cloning her phone for 48 hours. The moment she named the meeting spot, 2 surveillance vans repositioned, and Elijah, already briefing agents from a second-story window, predicted, "She's about to manufacture a confrontation. Have containment ready." At 9:07 p.m., Whitmore crouched behind a rusted shipping container, rehearsing lines for her unseen online audience. Instead of Elijah, her radio crackled, "Captain Whitmore, this is Special Agent Robert Mengen, FBI. Please remain where you are. You're the subject of an active federal inquiry." Across the alley, headlights cut on, silhouetting plainclothes agents. Langston raised his hands. Whitmore froze, recognition dawning that the hunter had been the mark. She was escorted to her cruiser, Mirandized for obstruction, falsification of records, and deprivation of civil rights under color of law. Back at the station, she spent the night at her desk, live stream account silent for the first time in 2 years, while federal prosecutors combed 18 months of doctored bodycam files. By sunrise, a sealed warrant authorized full seizure of her devices and social platforms. By mid-morning, 3 unmarked SUVs parked in front of Sycamore PD, and Whitmore was led out in cuffs, captured by the same local reporter who once celebrated her as the TikTok cop. Elijah, standing beside Agent Mengen, offered the only public comment he ever would. The truth speaks louder than edits. National outlets looped Whitmore's perp walk all week. Civil rights lawyers published side-by-side breakdowns of her videos versus raw footage. 18-second gaps where detained drivers asked, "Why am I being searched?" Muted laughs between officers after bogus arrests. Timestamp fraud on citation logs. Under mounting outrage, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation placed Sycamore PD under temporary oversight. Older officers retired early, new ones received mandatory bias training, and every patrol unit got cameras that auto-uploaded to the cloud, no delete button allowed. Tiana Riggins organized a watchdog coalition, Citizens First, its first meeting packed wall-to-wall with residents who'd once kept their heads down. One by one, men Whitmore had singled out recounted stops that never made a report. Glove compartment searches for odor, knees on necks for stalling, citations that vanished if she couldn't craft a compelling clip. Patterns don't lie, and patterns convict. A grand jury added conspiracy counts to Whitmore's indictment, and her high-priced defense began whispering plea. Elijah slipped out of town the same way he'd arrived. No ceremony, no press. Apartment cleared overnight. On his door, the landlord found a single note. Healing starts when truth is louder than fear. Some townsfolk wished he'd stayed for the photo ops. Others finally realized his disappearance underscored the point. He'd never wanted credit, only accountability. Weeks later, Sycamore held its first open listening session between police and public. An elderly white hardware store owner sat beside Malik's mother. A rookie patrolman admitted the old culture of editing for optics ended careers and endangered lives. A teenager, once too timid to speak, read into the record, "Your camera won't protect us if you're the one scripting the scene." The room was hushed, raw, but honest. An honesty Sycamore hadn't heard in years. In a federal holding cell outside Atlanta, Darla Whitmore replayed the night she thought would secure her next viral triumph. She still told her lawyer she'd been set up, still framed herself as overambitious, not criminal. But the hard drive said otherwise. Miles away, DOJ analysts stamped the Sycamore case study complete and forwarded training modules to academies nationwide. Visibility without integrity is a liability. For the Bureau, the operation was merely another pin on a crowded map. But for Sycamore, it rewrote the town's story. Perfection was never the goal. Truth was, and once truth takes the microphone, even the loudest edit can't drown it out. Watch the full story that the algorithm tried to bury. Hit subscribe for more real stories of justice unfiltered. Because when truth goes viral, even the badge gets held accountable. Drop a comment below. Should body cams upload live? Turn on notifications. This isn't the last small town with a big problem.